Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. Haven't been able to sleep. I've been up most of the night. And so I figured let's do the news. My wife got up. I was sitting there watching television. So I was like, you know what? Let's do the news. So I'm gonna be with you guys either half of the day or most of the day, but let's see how it goes. I don't necessarily want to do this particular video, but this is in my queue, and I've been having a hard time articulating this all morning, so I'm just going to go with it, and I'm just going to talk about it, as opposed to trying to actually do a segment. And by virtue of talking about it, I will be doing a segment. What has been taking place in the United States from the standpoint of immigration has been utterly repugnant. It has been horrific and embarrassing for the President of the United States to rip kids away in this way. Literally, children, babies, toddlers, children being ripped away from their parents by these thick-necked, square-chinned border guards as they tear them apart with these wailing, screaming children as their mother, who's fleeing rape, torture, and murder, is being taken away to a for-profit prison. Not to mention the kids being driven away to some kind of internment camp. These concentration camps that Donald Trump have been putting these people in, it's as if Fortress America is a thing. That this shining city on the hill is not a shining city on the hill at all. It's a fortress. It's not bring us your tired and poor and huddled masses, or maybe it is bring us your poor and huddled masses, and we will put them in a for-profit prison in which some plutocrat will be able to make profit off of the misery and pain of somebody else that's fleeing rape, torture, and abuse. This is not a good policy, to say the least. Donald Trump is doing this policy for two reasons. And no, this video is not necessarily about that, but I do want to delve into this part for a moment. Two main reasons. A deterrence of people coming into the country, which, by the way, was also the policy of Obama and would have been the policy of Clinton, and a bargaining chip. Both of these policies are nonsensical because neither one of these policies are based on correct thinking. Both of them are full of wrong think. The first part, if somebody is fleeing rape, torture, abuse, criminality, you would have to make the situation hellish. So hellish, in fact, that people would not come here because of the previous situation is worse. The thing is, though, because the new situation is just as bad, if not worse. There is a treacherous trip to get to some of these countries, El Salvador, Honduras, in order to get to the United States. No one makes that trip willy-nilly. They will make that trip if they're leaving something that incentivizes them to make that trip. You're not going to make the situation more hellish than what it is, and it hasn't shown to work. I'm sorry, it hasn't. This idea that you're going to stop people hasn't shown to work. You're essentially stripping away mothers from their kids for wrong think policy. That's the first point. The second point is even more repugnant, more cantankerous. This idea that you're going to get the Democrats to make a deal with you about immigration by making the situation that much worse. The public is not going to believe that this is a problem with the Democrats. The public is going to believe that this is your problem. You're the president. You have the House, the Senate, the Supreme Court. You have the entirety of the political apparatus. They're not going to put that on Democrats. It doesn't matter what you say. They're not going to put it on Democrats, and they shouldn't put it on Democrats. I understand that Democrats may use immigration as a political football, but you have jumped the shark magnificently and seen pictures of children wailing, screaming at the top of their lungs as the only mother they've ever known being ripped away by American border guards. And you believe that you could sell this as being the fault of the Democrats. You're woefully mistaken, sir. You are woefully mistaken. You believe that Democrats care about immigration. You, again, are woefully mistaken and are basing this on wrong premises. first premise is wrong. You're not preventing people who are coming from hellish situations. As bad as it is that you're ripping them away, that you're putting them in these work camps, you're still not going to be able to get these people to stop. That's the first point. And again, the second point, Democrats don't care enough about this to change their policy. It's not, I'm going to create a situation so hellish that Democrats are going to be broken up by this, and they're going to be so moved to action that they're just going to give me what I wanted, immigration. In fact, it's the opposite. They're going to let you wander and essentially flounder in this horrible situation that you've created at the border. Are you insane? Do you honestly believe, are you so politically illiterate that you believe Democrats actually care about immigration to the degree that their heart is going to be swollen? Oh, my heart is swollen by what's taking place with these kids. I'm going to be moved to act and just give Donald Trump what he wants. You are utterly insane if you believe that. That's not going to take place. What will take place is that you will end up making a deal on immigration because of how bad the situation is and the political pressure that's going to be exerted on you and your party to change this policy. That's what's going to take place. You're going to lose. You're not going to lose because Democrats are going to win in this sense. You're going to lose just because of how bad the policy is and how bad the optics are of you ripping children away from their mothers and fathers. Even people who might have been on board with this, we need to keep people out the country, are not going to be on board with a wailing child being pulled away as he's reaching out for his mama. Are you kidding me? So, on both premises, you're wrong. I keep saying Democrats don't care about the poor, Republicans don't care about the dead. They care about the political things that push them to action. And in this case, the politics of this, to some degree, demand that they let you wallow in your own failure. That said, and I'm putting a period behind that, I've watched Clinton give a partial speech on this, and look, the Democrats are making hay of this. On one side, they finally hit upon an actual issue. I mean, they've tried Russia, that nonsense. They've tried Trump in North Korea, that didn't work. They tried tax returns, that didn't work. They tried Trump and Nazis, that didn't work. Trump is a womanizer, that didn't work. And now we're with Trump is ripping away babies from their mamas. And on this, they're right. They finally get one. Ding, ding, ding. Here's the thing. You would have more of a moral force argument if you weren't necessarily complicit in your own bit of nastiness. Here's the thing. This is not a policy where Trump came in and the world fell off of a cliff. This is also just the permutation of the previous administration. I want to talk about immigration from a larger context, but just for one specific point. Hillary Clinton gave the speech. This is just a segment of it.
Every one of us, this is a moral and humanitarian crisis. Every one of us who's ever been a parent or a grandparent, an aunt, a big sister, any one of us who's ever held a child in our arms, every human being with a sense of compassion and decency should be outraged. And let's be very clear. This is not happening because of the, quote, Democrats' law, as the White House has claimed. Separating families is not mandated by law at all. That is an outright lie. And it's incumbent on all of us, journalists and citizens alike, to call it just that.
This is political theater. Don't get me wrong. I don't disagree that it's a lie. I mean, what takes place is not necessarily mandated by law. That's nonsense that Trump is coming up with. Again, I told you, part of it is deterrence. Again, nonsense. It doesn't work that way. And part of it is using this as a bargaining chip against Democrats. He wants to get his way for immigration. He wants Democrats to bow down to his way. That's not going to work that way. Democrats don't care enough to do that. It's not a bleeding heart issue. This woman does not care about the immigration issue, nor do the Democrats care completely about the immigration issue. Keep in mind, this is the same party where, 500,000 kids in Iraq, based on the sanctions that were being implemented by the Clinton administration, her husband, and this one I'm talking about Democrats, they knew that this was taking place, and they allowed this to go on nonetheless. The interview with Madeleine Albright, when she was actually confronted with this, and she's like, yeah, tough decisions. I bet it is. From the standpoint of Hillary Clinton, this idea of helping a coup in Honduras, or making the Iraq vote, or being so willing to topple governments abroad, those were also real people with children and mothers who were getting their heads cut off, their arms cut off, people being injured and killed. Why didn't she care about those people? What is with this selective caring about human beings that seems to be elicited when these guys are out of office? Here's the thing. The last administration got rid of over 3 million people out of the country, including implementing baby jails. That's what they were called, baby jails. What's taking place with Trump is just a permutation of the last administration. I keep saying the world did not fall off a cliff when Trump took office. Again, Trump is an extension of the last administration, not an entirely different feature of it. This was an immigration lawyer that had the opportunity to talk to Obama about what was taking place from the standpoint of immigration. Andrew Free. In 2015, I shook Obama's hand, thanked him for the DACA, and asked him to reverse course and close the for-profit baby jails, also known as family detention centers, he opened in Delray and Carnes City, Texas. What he said shook me to my core. Specifically, I told him it's wrong and it's going to be a stain on your legacy. He stopped moving on to the next person in the rope line, looked back at me. I'd gotten his attention. He turned back, looked at me, and said, "Are you an immigration lawyer?" Yes. Just days before, President Obama's senior administration advisor, C. Muniz, had received a chilly welcome during a keynote address at the AILA National Annual Conference attendees in the National Harbor. She was greeted with silent protests and signs saying, "End family detention." Later, I learned that her meeting with the senior AILA attorney had been testy, to say the least. See, Obama had previously timed great news like DACA to coincide with the AILA annual conference. We all watched ecstatic in Nashville in 2012 as he announced it on giant screens. So the president's immediate association with in-family detention with immigration lawyers wasn't random. He'd been told and believed we were basically the only ones who'd care, and even then, it would be a minority of us that wouldn't extract from him a political cost. So when I said, yes, the president will look back and engage, I'll tell you what, we can't have. It's these parents sending these kids here on a dangerous journey and putting their lives at risk. And he walked down the rope line, not, I'm working on it, not, thanks for your support, just, yes. This is the right move given what I perceive the facts to be. I was dumbfounded. Let's unpack the logic of what he said, because it's the logic that led us here. What he's saying led us here, meaning Donald Trump is ripping kids away from their parents. He's making this argument that what's taking place is just a right-wing deviation of a plan that was implemented by the Obama administration, and not just the Obama administration. Just the for-profit prisons, he's making the argument, started with the Obama administration. Trump jumps the shark on that policy. But he's making the point that it's an incremental departure from what was in a previous administration. And I'm putting a period behind what Trump is doing is ghastly, because there is no but there. I'm making the point that there is a more force of an argument if your motives are clear. And not just if your motives are clear, if you hadn't deported 3 million people in the last administration, even people who were seeking asylum. the reason he said this chilled him to his core is because ultimately Obama has taken this rationale that we need to stop people from bringing their kids here. And you stop that by putting those people in family detention. Now, the reason why he's saying this is because when he mentioned family detention, we need to end family detention and these baby jails, the response of Obama was in relation to that comment. What we can't have is these people bringing their kids here. By extension, the next thing is, well, are you saying that these detention centers are used as a deterrent because you don't want people coming here? Or at the very least, you're trying to stop them from coming here. Let's take another step for this. It's so... Where is it? Alright, right here. Damn, I might have closed it. Essentially, an article in The Nation, I'm going to put it at the bottom. I closed it because I wasn't fully going to do the story. But nevertheless, it's an article in The Nation that goes into this idea of the migrants and Clinton's take on migrants. What she said there doesn't really mean anything because it doesn't really give you policy per se. It's just her saying it's repugnant that people are doing this. But when you get into what she's talking about, though, it's a little different. Like policy-wise. So right here. Texas Governor Rick Perry pledged to send 1,000 National Guard troops to the border because he refused to stand idly by while our citizens are under assault. It's fucking ridiculous. Congressional Republicans refused to greenlight funds President Obama requested to address the crisis. At the height of the crisis last June, Hillary Clinton said they should be sent back as soon as it can be determined who's responsible adults and the families are, because there are concerns about whether all of them should be sent back. But I think all of them who can be should be reunited with their families. Send them away. Send them away. O'Malley makes that point in the election, she's saying send them away. Many of these people are coming from war-torn, violent countries. Is sending them away the thing that you should do. Now, here's another part that I thought was awesome or interesting. Right here. This goes in the Obama administration. Last December, the United States also began accepting applicants for a brand new program ostensibly designed to provide Central American children hoping for humanitarian relief an opportunity to process their cases without having them leave their home countries. In order for a child to be granted entry into the United States, a parent or guardian in the country with legal status must apply on behalf of the child, and both guardian and child must clear the interviews and DNA tests. 11 months after the start of the initiative, the United States have received 5,400 applications, completed 90 interviews, and brought 0 children into the country. Essentially, they created a process that essentially was not necessarily to bring kids in, but to pretend as if they had a process that was going to somehow provide some kind of humanitarian relief, when really it was just to give a fig leaf to not do anything. Look, what Trump is doing at the border is uncalled for. It doesn't work, and it's done for political effect, and it is providing trauma to human beings for political effect. Call it what it is. Also, starting your campaign with, I think most Mexicans are rapists and drug dealers, doesn't necessarily hate your case from the standpoint of being just an overt racist. So all of this stuff is held through the lens of that. That being said, we also must understand that it is also true that these people are political actors and giving speeches like this when their policies were only incrementally different. Obama started these baby jails. I'm making the point to you that, again, this is one of those things where both are the problem. Neither provide real solutions to this particular question. And I don't even necessarily think they address the question all that honestly. The United States took on a policy that anything that took place in the Southern Hemisphere was our purview. Meaning, if we needed to get certain, if we needed to put in dictators, if we needed to attack attack left-wing governments, like the Iran-Contra affair, literally selling weapons in order to attack leftist governments in South America. If we needed to topple governments, it was our purview. Anything in South America is our purview. So we do what we need to do in that particular sphere of the world. We need to have a memory that goes beyond a year or 2 years or 5 years when we're talking about the conditions and the problems associated with South America. Even recently, Honduras, where Hillary Clinton literally toppled the government or helped, let's say assisted in the toppling of that government in Honduras. We need to have an honest memory and an honest recount of our role in the world, in that part of the world. That's the first part. The second part, the shining city on a hill. So I asked the question, why on earth are people coming to the country? They're coming to the country for obvious reasons. Their country is a hellhole. Now, for whatever reason their country is a hellhole, it makes all the sense in the world that if you're living in a country of shit and piss, that you would not necessarily want to stay in a country of shit and piss, that you're going to move to somewhere else that you think is better. Even if that country may be hostile, you have every incentive of the world to leave somewhere where there may be rapists and criminals and killers, or there may be warlords, or there may be political instability. Of course you'll leave. Of course you'll take your kids, because you don't want your kids in that particular situation. It is natural as natural can be to do something like that. That's the first thing we need to be honest about. Meaning, there is no getting rid of the immigration issue. There is no Fortress America. There's no Fortress anything. There's no getting rid of the immigration issue without acknowledging that the people who are coming here have an incentive and a vested interest in coming here. That being said, any real solution to the immigration issue is going to have to deal with those countries themselves. Meaning, let me say it this way. After World War II, we rebuilt Japan and we rebuilt Germany. Now, we didn't do it because we were just humanitarians and we were just great, awesome people. We did it because we wanted to be a bulwark against the Soviet Union. We wanted to have allies in that particular region, so it was incentivized, or we were incentivized, to build up Germany to the degree that we could build up Germany to be a bulwark. That incentive doesn't necessarily exist from the standpoint of South America. I would argue that it does exist if we don't want people coming into the country in droves. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it to this degree where you build up your country and ignore what's in your region, nor can you have it where you assist in the political instability, especially from a historic context, and then pretend as if all these people coming to your shores is just random and willy-nilly. You can't have it both ways. And the arguments that's been taking place and the conversations that's taking place is pretending as if all of these people are just coming to our shores because of stuff that's taking place there, as opposed to, from a historical context, we had influence and access, and we done things in those countries to create political instability in those countries. If you want to stop people from coming to your shores, maybe part of that $20 trillion should have been spent assisting as opposed to extracting wealth from those countries. It is to some degree a political consequence of putting in dictators, of attacking left-wing governments, of pushing opposition and militia forces in many of those countries, of working with terrorists or working with people who are undermining actual governments. There's a consequence. And I understand the media likes to talk about this, but the media needs to talk about this from the standpoint of refugee crisis. This is some degree a consequence of a policy of believing that the South America was essentially our domain. So this video has gone way too long, but I'm going to end it here. I just wanted to make this point on immigration. We need to have a memory longer than a few years, and let's stop pretending as if what the Democratic Party was doing was working, what Donald Trump is doing was working. None of that stuff was working. And the sense that the idea that the last president deported 3 million people and yet can say that new president is doing really bad stuff, or the last president had baby jails and the new president gives a tweak of the baby jail thing and people lose their minds. I don't like these baby jails. I think these things are horrendous. I thought it was horrendous when Obama was doing it. I think it's horrendous when Trump is doing it. And let's be honest, what Trump is doing is worse because he's actually breaking up those families. But can we just not pretend? Can we not pretend that these people are actual bleeding hearts and that the people in the other party actually care about immigration and actually care about the human beings that's associated at the end point of the policies that they push? I mean, come on. Let's see. That's right, Jamal. We wrecked their lives and now making it worse for profit. Yeah, we're putting them in cages for profit. Good Donald Trump. She stole it fair and square. Badger Damon stole it fair and square. I'm going to keep this chat comment short. American citizens go to jail for missed traffic court dates. No tears for us. Yeah, we do. For that matter, I mean, you get caught with a plant, get put in prison, in jail. So yeah, but I do think there is a difference in ripping kids away from their parents. Don't misunderstand me. That's why I say I'm putting a period behind that. That's not a but. I'm also adding that the force of the arguments against Trump will be more emboldened if the force of those arguments was somewhat real, and if the last administrations weren't so necessarily callous towards either human life or callous towards these issues of war, issues of chaos in other parts of the world. That's all. Let's see. Yes, what the fuck? What the fuck is right? Alright, again, not going to keep this one long. Balthazar, breaking news in 2011. Hillary Clinton decries Romulus from entering Earth for time traveling with Russian robots to hack Joy Reid's blog. Oh God, that woman still has a job. She still has a job. Alright, I'm going to end this. This video has gone far, far too long. 0000M. Holy cannabis oil. I support you though. I'm just a downer. Oh, that's hilarious. Don't be a downer. Don't be a downer. No one should be persecuted for wanting peace, safety, and work. No, they shouldn't. I mean, I just wish both administrations, not just Trump, not just Obama, I wish both people who are coming here who need our help. We should be empathetic to those people. We have the richest country on the planet. We spend $1 trillion a year on military. Like, the amount of money that we waste is tremendous. The idea that we can't find room, can't find support for people who are leaving horrendous conditions. That's a mark on us. That's a mark on us. That's embarrassing. That's a complete mark on us. Glad's Mangolas. I did 2 years of time in juvenile hall for marijuana. Doesn't mean that we should treat everyone like shit because I got fucked over by this dumbass systems of laws. I think change would be useful. So yes, I love that. I love that you said that. Have you heard people sometimes where they would be like, well, I only got paid this, so it's okay that. It's like, so you got fucked over, so other people should be fucked over too? Yeah, I agree. That's not what I was saying in the sense of, oh, I see what you mean. The other person was making this argument. I see what you mean. Yeah, you're right. I don't want to give this impression that just because our laws are shitty that we should treat other people that way. I don't think that at all. I don't think our laws should be shitty. I don't think we should be putting people in prison for pot like that. And I certainly don't think we should be handling our affairs at the border in this way. This is humiliating. I mean, if you look at world news and you look at, I'm just saying, this is humiliating. This is completely humiliating. Alright, I'm going to end this because I have another video I want to do after this. I want to talk about Brexit and what's been taking place with Brexit, the meaningful vote. And George Galloway has said he will be on the show. I don't know when, but this is going to be an awesome conversation for him because he has an interesting perspective on Brexit from the left. So I am eager to have that conversation with him. So I'll end this here. I'll see you guys in about 15 minutes to talk about Brexit. All right, guys. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. Of course, you can always support through Patreon. Thanks, guys. And